So $1 million question, would you sell it in your store?
If I could get it with a dealer price, yes.
But at the moment, between the three of us, we have 0% reliability if we're putting a number. So imagine you're the DS of a team, a road bike team. Would you put L-TWOO eRX on your riders' bikes?
Hell no.
And yeah, so for the everyday consumer, do you recommend eRX or do you just say, bite the bullet and go for 105 Di2?
Oh God. I mean, I really like my core, my deep belief says that I can't recommend you go and choose Shimano. But like,
So if you go on a holiday to Mallorca, would you take a bike with eRX on it?
I mean, I would because I'm a glutton for punishment. Right?
The question then, tomorrow you become the CEO of L2. What do? How do you fix it?
You ever tried smacking with a hammer?
What's up everyone, China Cycling here. Something a bit different today. So the past few days I did a half an hour video review of my L2 eRX, and I was just about to publish the video when I had some problems with my eRX. And so that left me like, what do I do? Do I reshoot the video? The very same day, Trey's Velo, he had problems with his eRX too, and he'd just done a video 2 days before his review as well. So both of us are in this weird situation where we've done these reviews, but then we've had problems. So anyway, I thought I'd sit down with both GC Performance because he's got a group set and he's had some troubles and he's done a review. So I sat down with GC Performance for a talk, and I sat down with Luke from Trace Velo for a talk, and we just talked about what is going on with this group set and should you buy it, should you not buy it, and just kind of put all of our thoughts into one video. So it's a pretty long video. It's a bit different from my usual content, but yeah, you guys check it out, and yeah, either just put it on the background and listen to it. There's nothing really to see, but yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think. See in the comments down below, and yeah, let's roll it.
So what's up everyone, China Cycling here. Today I'm joined by Grant from GC Performance. I also wanted to get Luke, Trace Velo in here, but because the three of us essentially live on three different sides of the earth, the time zones would be a nightmare. So I'm gonna have a little chat with Grant, and then maybe later I'll have a chat with Luke, and then I'll put it all together with the magic of editing. Anyway, Grant, for those who don't know you, give us a little GC introduction.
Yeah, my name is GC Performance. I run the YouTube channel over there. I work/own a bicycle shop, do a bunch of mechanics, have done, been in the bicycle industry for a long time, 15 years actually in the business, but it's been in my bloodline for a long time. So I bleed, sweat, feel bicycles all the way through, and I love everything about bikes. I talk about it all the time. So anything about components, bicycles, I'm about it.
Awesome. Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know him, go check out his channel. He has some good videos on there. Bit of a specialized fanboy, but we'll forgive you. Okay, so let's talk about the topic of the day, the L2 eRX. So this has been a huge roller coaster for me, and I think also a roller coaster for L2 themselves. Just this constant up and down of because everyone for ages was always waiting for their electronic Chinese group set to come, and it finally came, and everyone's like, oh. But then people start having issues, and then people fix the issues, and it keeps going up and up and down. So I'll quickly run through my experience so far, and then Grant can say his experience, because I know he's got a set. Have you got one set or two set of eRX now?
I got two sets, but I've used the original one that I bought. The one they sent me the second time, I still haven't used that one yet.
But you actually purchased three sets. Well, you should have three sets, right? But one went missing in the post. Then you got the second one that you're using, and now you have a third set that's sitting on the table. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So you have more eRX than I have. Anyway, so my eRX, I originally rode it at the launch event, which was the super first batch of units. That was fine, whatever. But it's at a launch event, so you don't get to really dive into it, whatever. Then they sent me one of maybe the second batch of the units. So mine has no serial number on the rear derailleur and stuff. Mine's a pretty early version. And I've been riding that now for a couple of months, 3,000 kilometers on it. And so most people know the issues that I've been having. So I believe my first issue was the waterproofing issue. And so yeah, basically I rode it once in the rain, and while I was riding it was fine. And then I put the bike in the car and drove home. When I got home, I parked in the underground car park. And then when I was coming up the ramp to come out the car park, I tried to change gear, and it wouldn't change. So I hammered it a few times and then it changed. I was like, that was weird. Maybe it was still asleep. And then got into the house, checked it over, and it was completely dead. And I was like, huh, that's weird. And so I was like, maybe it's out of battery because, when things are bouncing around in the back of the car, the accelerator on my car is always moving, so it doesn't go to sleep. I was like, well, it shouldn't be down the battery, but maybe it is. So I charged it up.
Didn't you think that it could have been also like the battery being inside the down tube playing there? Maybe like water got more exposed to that battery as well.
Yeah. So like this is the side note from mine and this is a dumb thing about Di2 in general. Like, so my 3G Strata, the seat post is so small that the battery can't fit inside. Does Specialized have any bikes where the battery can't fit in the seat tube?
The new SLA, it does, but they put a proprietary piece so it hangs by a 3D printed clip and the battery hangs below the seat post. But the new Cannondale Super 6 is like that, where it's in the down tube of the frame. Seat post is very tiny.
Yeah, so like this is kind of like an issue. And so you obviously work on bikes a lot. You know how annoying fully internal bikes can be these days. Yes. So yeah, on my 3T Strata, I ghetto tape the battery to the hydraulic hose in the down tube because there was nowhere else to put it, and I didn't want it wrapping around. So I wrapped in a bit of foam and then tied it to the hydraulic hose going down the down tube. But the thing about the 3T that is interesting is that hydraulic hose goes into the top of the frame before it goes down. So maybe like water goes in there too, it runs along that hose, but I wrapped it in foam and stuff, so I can't see that getting that wet. I mean, when you're riding, even in monsoon weather, like a tiny hole on your frame, how much water is possibly going to go in there?
Well, I mean, even everything nowadays, companies will claim that everything's watertight, waterproof, watertight bearings. Water finds a way in there. I mean, I don't know, but like you said, it's neither here nor there. Like you said, you did all the precautions for it.
Yeah. So anyway, like at the time, I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it died in the rain. And so I tried to charge it. It won't charge. The next day, it's completely dead. Like the lights won't come on, anything. And I talked to L-TWOO, like, oh yeah, it's probably water damage. Send it back to us and we'll get you a new one. And I was like, just send you the reiterator. They're like, no, send me the whole thing. And I was like, I don't want to try to get the battery out. Like I literally have to recable pole bike before I get the battery out. So I was like, I'll do it when I'm in the mood for it. So I just put it in this room for a few days. And every day I'd come in and try to plug it in and hope the LED would turn on and it just wouldn't turn on. But like on the third day, I came in here and I plugged it in and the LED light came on. I was like, oh, that's weird. I was like, what happened to I press shift? And I pressed shift and it just worked. And I checked to the app and the app said it still had like 70% battery. Everything was fine, yada, yada.
And then, and it's been good ever since.
Yeah, and it was good ever since. I was like, huh. And so every time it rained, I was like, I'm not going to take that bike to it. But there was a few times where it would start raining in the ride and again, it was fine, no problem. And then fast forward, then I did like 2,000 kilometers trouble-free. And then fast forward to Sunday, I did a huge 200-kilometer ride with like almost 3,000 meters of climbing. So lots of shifts on the front and the rear derailleurs because it's constantly going up and down. I ride again, didn't skip a beat. It was perfect. The braking is awesome. The shifting is great. I was in love. I was like, wow. And so I finished my review video. It's like a 26-minute epic video of me just talking BS, but it's 26 minutes, like took ages to edit. I upload the video to YouTube and I'm gonna set it to go live like that night. And then so I ride home and literally on the ride home, it just stops working. Like the front and rear, absolutely dead, no response whatsoever. And then so I get home and I plug it in and it goes back to life, just no problem. And so this issue, I think, is the same issue that you had before. So you tell us before about the whole leaf spring, coil spring thing.
So when I bought I think I even talked to you about it. When I first saw the group set on, I was literally on my phone. I got an email from AliExpress saying, hey, we recommend these cycling products. And it was eRX. And we were talking back and forth. And this was right when the eRX hype came out. Like you showed the teaser video for it. You did the video where you went there, you wrote it. And I was like, man, Joe, when are you going to get this? When are we going to see this? And he's like, oh, I'm working on it. It's still in process. And then you're even telling me, like, I don't have my hands on it yet. I don't know when it's going to come out. And I get this email. I'm like, okay, let me buy this on AliExpress. It was a premium price. I think it was $800. I bought it as a YouTuber. I was like, I could write it off at the end of the year if it doesn't work, whatever it is, if it's a scam. I get it. I'm going through everything. I'm very excited to see. I get the unboxing done. I even have a little bit of trouble setting up because my box came, nothing was in packaging. I got no owner's manual. But again, everything was there. It looks really good. But I even noticed in my video, my first initial video when I had it, I took the battery and I shook the battery. and I could hear the batteries going back and forth. I was like, that doesn't sound like a normal battery at all. And so, but I even remember I was like, hey, Joe, like, how do I pair this? It doesn't work, yada, yada. And that first initial plugin, it works fine. Me on the video, it works fine. It worked great. Snap to me building the bicycle up. The first ride I did on it, I head out. I get the initial message saying the battery level is low, even though I know I charged it on my Hammerhead. I go out about 20 miles on a 4th of July ride. I still remember the ride. 20 miles. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, everything's working good. 20 miles in, I'm literally in a group. We're doing 24, 25 miles an hour. I go to shift, nothing. Luckily, I was in that gear that we were doing the entire time, and Florida's flat, so I didn't have an issue. But I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I'm trying to like press it back and forth for like a good solid 2 miles, 4 miles, whatever it is, going back and forth, back and forth. Embarrassed. Like I'm like, when the hell is this gonna work? Boom, 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 boom. And so I just kind of pull off the group. I'm like, I'm going to the back. My gear's not working. And then all of a sudden, 4 miles goes by. I'm pressing, and it just turns on. So I'm like, maybe it's a sleep mode issue. Maybe it's something with a first gen issue. Maybe it's something I did wrong. I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm like, let me ride it more before I make a video. Next ride I do, 3 days later, I go on a ride. 2 miles in, I go over nice smooth roads, shifting up and down, no issues. I make sure I test at my store before, because I'm like, hey, I had this issue. Let me test it on the ride there, test it while shifting on the bridge. Working great. I get over the bridge as soon as we go down the bridge. So I'm climbing up a bridge that goes over like the intercoastal, like the water. I'm climbing up this bridge. As soon as I get over the bridge, I'm in a very easy gear now, and we start to go downhill 20 miles an hour. It doesn't shift. I'm in a very easy gear. I'm doing about 100 cadence, like 100 RPMs, and I'm bouncing on the wind space. I'm riding the wind space agile, and the seat post is really tall. I'm on this thing like a damn pogo stick, like it's like trying to keep up. And I let the group ride go. I'm about 4 miles in, and I think I even made a video where I showed them like this thing gave up. I was pissed about it. I want to curse at L-TWOO. I didn't know the issue for it, so I was like, let me try one more time. I did another ride. Same thing happened. Pissed off. I made the video where I basically had the bicycle hidden because it was a unidentified wind space bicycle, and I talked about the group set, how I was kind of upset about it. I said that everything worked phenomenally on the group set. The hydraulic disc brakes were good. The shifts felt good. The group set looked amazing aesthetically. The shifter hoods felt decent too. But I was just really pissed about this. L-TWOO reached out to me because I guess they saw the video, and they said, hey, there's a known issue for the first gen battery. The battery connection has like leaf springs on there. And that was what that thing was. While I was shaking the batteries, like, they're like, take a little flathead screwdriver and fix it. They go, if you don't want to do that, we're going to send you on a new group anyways to fix this. But that should fix the problem. I didn't install a new group. I took the battery out, literally just pushed up on that leaf spring. Ever since then, and I did the software update as well to make it to that new 10-speed stuff. So it has 12 speed, 11 speed, 10 speed. Ever since then, I haven't had a beat. No issues at all. Every single time I touch a bike, it works. Every single time I touch the front rail, it works. Very happy with it. Barely charge it. Works amazing. Only downside I'll say, or the only thing I can say that really plays in tune with you guys, is that I don't shift a lot of front derailleur at all. I don't even touch my front derailleur. So maybe the fact that I underuse it could play a part of mine being fine and not working. I wouldn't even know. If there was an issue for it, I wouldn't shift it, and there would be a non-issue for me. So, but in terms of that, I have about 800 miles on my group set, and I rode it in pouring rain. I rode mine in a monsoon. I put that in the video as well. I rode in water about 60 millimeters deep, stuck in pouring rain. No issues with mine with water. I haven't poured pressure wash on in the back when I clean my bike. I tried to break it. I'll take it. I'll drop my bike from a 2-foot drop. Nothing. So I got pretty lucky, but I haven't installed the new group yet, so who knows?
Yeah. So your problem. So when yours went to sleep or like it stops responding, you can keep pressing it and it comes back to life, right? Was there ever a time when it wouldn't come back to life and you had to plug it in, or did that not happen for you?
The first 4 times with the battery, when it was doing that first initial battery kind of thing where it would shut off, it wouldn't turn back on until I take it back to the store, and then I plug it back in and I'll get a restart, and it'll shift in the store. As soon as I take it out, it would stop working, which is always weird. Like you said, you would prep your bike for the ride. It'd be 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm about to go off a ride. Check my shifts. It worked obviously in the store. Start riding. 2 miles down the road, nothing. So, but when you took it back, you charge it and work again.
You see, I think you had like two issues. Like the first ride you said where like it stopped working and it came back to life. Like I think that was like it going into sleep mode or whatever. But then the second issue, I think, is the battery issue where like it loses power for a second and just goes into some sort of like it's dead until it gets the charger. So I think it's actually two issues.
I will say that again with the sleep mode. I didn't upgrade my app at first, the first 4 times because it wouldn't let me upgrade my app. I kept on trying to put my phone number in there, it wouldn't work. I put my email in there, it wouldn't work. I deleted the app and re-download the app, and then I was able to update and do the software update, and it works really well.
Okay. Yeah, so I've never had the issue that you had where it goes to sleep and then randomly starts working again. Like so, the other day when mine did just stop working, the only way to make it start working again was to plug it in. But so that sounds more like the battery link spring because my battery was also the old link spring one, I assume. Yeah, that was the first time it happened to me. And like I said, I did a 200-kilometer ride with crazy, like some of the roads were really, really bad, and it was fine. And then I just ride home from my office and it just seemingly dies, which is a bit weird, but it is what it is. So anyway, I get mine working again by plugging it in, and I test it's working, but I only tested the rear derailleur. And then so the next day I come into the office, and on the way to the office, I realized, wait, the front derailleur is not working. And so my rear derailleur is working fine, but the front derailleur is just not working. And so when I press the shift button for the front derailleur, the little light comes on the rear derailleur. So what happens is your right shifter talks to the rear derailleur to make it move, but the left shifter also talks to the rear derailleur, and then the rear derailleur sends the signal to the front derailleur. So I'm pressing the left shifter, and the little LEDs coming on the rear derailleur, so that's getting the signal, but the signal just isn't making its way to the front derailleur. And I'm like,
you ever tried smacking with a hammer?
That's gonna be my next
I'm
video.
I'm telling you, man. Sometimes you just hit it with a hammer one time and knocks into place, and it might work. Who knows?
So like I'm trying everything. And I'm like, okay, I give up. I send the L-TWOO a message, and they were like, oh, in the app, press the little auto calibrate button. So for the front derailleur in the app, there's a little crosshair button, which is auto calibrates the front derailleur. I was like, how is that gonna fix this? Why is that? It was such a dumb idea. I was convinced it was gonna work. Well, I tried everything. So I was like, okay. So I press the little calibrate thing, and it comes back to life. So I'm like, okay. And then again, it's working absolutely perfectly. I'm like, okay.
Have you rode it since then?
Yeah. So after I do this, it's working fine. Happy days, like absolutely no problems. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to re-edit my video because this is a new twist in the saga. I need to tell people about this.
It's not normal.
Yeah, there's just a bug, but there's an easy fix for it. You just press this little button and it starts working again. Like, it's not good, but it's fixable. And then literally 4 hours later, 5 hours later, I get a message from Trace Velo. And it's funny. So I could have my waterproof problems. And also the previous day I had my, the whole thing stop working problems. And so whenever I have these problems, like I talk to Trace Velo. And it's funny, like, so you're always like, mine's fine. I don't know what you're about. Like, since you're a bit. And Trace Velo's been the same too. Trace Velo's been like, oh, mine's fine too. Like, and he made this nice video, like 20-minute video saying how it's the thing we've all been waiting for. It's the bee's knees. And so literally, 4 hours after I find the super fix in this bug, he sends me a video going, hey Joe, my front derailleur stopped working. And I was like, oh, really? What a person. But like, I'm super cocky because I'm like, aha, I know how to fix this now. Like, I'm the big guy with the inside information. Like, hey, I'm China cycling. And so I'm super cocky. I'm like, bro, you just press this button in the app and it all works fine. And he goes, no, it doesn't work. I was like, really? And so he's sending me videos, and his is the same as mine. So when you unplug the front derailleur and plug it in, it'll a little bit. So it's got power, it's working. He just refuses to listen to it. Yeah. And so for me, the little crosshair fix works. For him, the crosshair fix doesn't work. And so the last thing I saw was him taking apart his sprint derailleur, like he's taking the casing off it, and everything inside it looks good. Like I'm going to talk to him later today. Yeah, but there's a warranty?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, yes. What a coincidence, though, that literally all three of us, I think, even I posted my first video, it did pretty well, the 60,000 view video. And then I was stoked on it. Same way he was, stoked on it. And then literally the first 4 rides I do, shits on me. And then I have to make the follow-up video. He does a video where he talks really highly of it, shits on him. You do the video of it where you've talked about it recently and you did the whole thing. I don't think you've really done your full long-term review of it, but you did the first initial ride of it. You're like, oh, I like this a lot. This is really cool. and then it shits on you right when you're about to do it again. Like, it's so weird how it works there.
Yeah, literally, like the video is sitting in my YouTube channel. Like, I'll send you a link in a minute, maybe. Like, it's like a 26-minute video, and it's like, oh yeah, I had this one issue with waterproofing, but it's fine. Like, I think we can start to use it now. And no, it died. So, but like, so let's put this in perspective. So the three of us, so I've all had issues. So that's 100% rate. Like, so you work in a bike shop.
Yeah.
You have SRAM Red come in every day. You have Shimano Di2 come in every day. Like, how many issues have you seen with Di2 and SRAM Red like that are similar issues?
I do get issues, but obviously the amount of product that's out there is a way bigger grand scale of what it is. So pretty much all the bikes I sell now are electronic or Di2. I know Florida, get with the times. So I know we're in a nice economy bubble over here, but I'll get every once in a while, and it's issues that are easily fixed. It's issues usually user error, maybe needs a software update, yellow button, or some kind of quick fix of just maybe repairing, but minimal, maybe like once a week. I'll get an issue with a SRAM product. Usually, Shimano's pretty good.
Yeah, so that's a very stark number, right? Like from 100% issue rate to like that as a percentage, that must be like 0 point something, right?
Exactly. I just had an issue with a customer's rear derailleur for the first time ever with the SRAM Red, and I had no idea. Called up SRAM Red about it. This is the first time over 5 years of SRAM Red. The first time I've ever seen anything like this. You shift it shifts up 4 times super quick, down 3 times super quick, and then like retracts. It's like I was like, so I just told SRAM that, like, okay, I was sending out a new one, no problem. So that was a pretty cool thing. But yeah,
that sounds like stripped teeth in the cogs to me, but I'm not. Maybe, I'm no engineer. Like, I've got Dura Ace Di2 on a bike I'm testing these days, and I've already got around 1,500 kilometers on that, almost 2,000.
It's reliable.
Yeah, I had one issue. There was one day, so like I have the buttons on the top of the HUD set up to change the page on the Garmin. There's one day when that just wouldn't work, and I don't know what was what, but everything else it always shipped. Like
I had that same issue though.
Yeah, that's the same issue.
I had the same issue with my Ultegra on my Tarmac SL7. I had the top button to change gears back and forth on the hoods. On there, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, it stopped mapping them, and I had to remap them, which is weird.
Yeah. So, but so I guess all electronics have issues, but at the moment it would seem that L2 definitely has bigger issues.
1,000%. I mean, you're literally stopping people's rides. You're hindering people from. You're buying a product that you're thinking is pretty much 100% finished, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work. So whereas with Shimano, like I said, it's usually user error or SRAM is usually user error and so that, but they've been around for so long. I mean, you can't. But like, so
the one reason it's so frustrating, I was talking about this with Luke, but maybe you can say what you say. Like, it's just because it's so close. Like, when it works, it is so good. Like, the brakes are amazing, the ergonomics feel good, it shifts so crisp, and like the way you can tune the rear mech for every single individual gear. Like on my 3T, the rear derailleur hanger is bent. Like if I was using Shimano Di2 or SRAM, like you can make it so the top gears work well or the bottom gears work well, but like you won't be able to get them all working. I've got a bent dog leg rear derailleur hanger, and it shifts perfectly because I can just adjust every gear. So it's so frustrating that it's so close to being good, but there are these issues with it, and it's just like.
That's the thing, is that when we assume, especially me over here in the West, in the United States, when we see a product and we visually assume that it's ready to be sold on an e-commerce website, even if AliExpress, I mean, obviously AliExpress is the wild, wild east, wild, wild west, but at my first mind, even when I was talking to you, you said this product isn't ready, and I see it being available to buy. My first initial impression is it's ready to go. I should have no issues buying. I should have no issues buying this product, and it should work right off the bat, because I'm thinking that AliExpress, Amazon, obviously the two are not the same. But in my mind, being on the internet over here, that's how I view it as. So it is, like you said, the brakes are really nice. The mineral oil, I do like. It's like a SRAM shifter hood, but like a Shimano brake feel of like that nice quick snappiness. And the shifter hoods, like I said, were a take up for me because of the hand size, but it wasn't. Sure. It's nothing that I couldn't get used to, because that shifter hood wall was used to. But I do like the ends of them because I can kind of hold on to them like that. So, like you said, the product is very well. I mean, I'm shifting while standing up sprinting. I'm trying to break it, and it works really good.
So, $1 million question, would you sell it in your store?
If I could get it with a dealer price, yes. If I could get it with a dealer price, and if I can get it with a dealer price and make a margin off it, obviously I would need some kind of backing with the, that's my whole thing, is that if I can get a backing with a company, sure. Because I know there's going to be issues with everything. As long as they have my back to say, hey, if something goes wrong and you did your best to try to diagnose it, we'll back you for sure. But I think that it's working good. I actually have customers who see my video who come into my store to look at the bike and say, hey, I'm either looking at a Durace 11-speed bike or I'm looking at this kind of group set, the L-TWOO 12-speed. And they like the reason that they can go back and forth, or maybe their trainer that has 11-speed cassette on there, or the bike that has a 12-speed group set, Like it's really versatile. So, and plus like, the price point.
So like the $1 million question for me is also like, would I sell it on Panda Podium? And at the moment, it's really hard to say, because so you have the advantage that like if you put out the customer's bike, if that customer has an issue, we can bring this bike to you.
Exactly.
And we can try the stuff. But if I show it to a customer who's, in Timbuktu, if he has an issue, like it's going to be so hard for me to diagnose.
And it's a lot of downtime too. Yeah.
Yeah. And do I want that responsibility? Because like, sure, L2 might send a replacement component, but like I've got to be the one who talks to the customer and blah, 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 blah. Like, exactly. I just don't know if it's worth it or not. But like, because when it's good, it's good. I want people to have that choice to be able to get their hands on it. But at the same time, like, we have the nightmare of whether I should sell it or not.
You're very much like me in terms of like, we really do try to show our customer service. And obviously if we sell a product, we want to stand by it. The same exact way in my store. Like I obviously sell Specialized, Scott, Shimano, whatever it is. And I say, hey, you just bought this expensive bicycle for me. If anything happens, feel free to come back here. We're open 7 days a week. Call me. I'll do my best. If I can't get it working, I'll take apart off another bike. Like obviously I want you, there's a million places where you can buy this product from. I want you to be able to make sure you feel sound with buying from us. So same thing with L2, like I said, the only way I would really sell my store is if I had dealer backing. And if this stuff is as cheap as what people always say, like, oh, it's cheap to make in China, like it could be like, hey, GC or Grant, take 10 of these kits, sell them in stores to your dealer costs. We're going to send you out 3 more replacement kits to have on hand. And be like, this is just in case kits. If you don't need them, send them back. If you do need them, they're swap outs. Give us the old kits. We'll take care of them. If they stay on top of customer service and make people happy, it'll be huge.
I think L2 themselves need to set up some like service centers, like a small office, one in North America, one in Europe, and have these service centers just take care of service. Otherwise, especially like even if it was 100% reliable, okay, 99.9% reliable, they need that. But at the moment, between the three of us, we have 0% reliability if we're putting a number. So,
and again,
we're even more.
We're all bicycle enthusiasts. We're all YouTubers. We're all used to maybe trying out a test product or two and be like, okay, this works, good enough for me. I'm okay with it. But for a consumer that's paying full boat and not getting any benefit out of like maybe getting views off it, I'd be upset. I'd be upset if I'm like that.
And I have like 11 bikes. So if today my L2 bike isn't working, I'll just jump on another bike. But like if
we're very fortunate,
So like let's spin that to another question. Imagine you're the DS of a team, a road bike team. Would you put L2 eRX on your riders' bikes?
Hell no! I'll get crucified if you seen these pro mechanics get crucified, or you seen these people get crucified with reliable stuff. I get killed for that. It's not like you said. It's not reliable.
So L2 come in you and they say give you $500,000 to sponsor your team. Got the bike sold off.
$500,000? I mean, I could take a beating for $500,000. I could have all 7 guys beat the shit out of me because they don't like the group set. But no, I mean, like you said,
coming into the wild sprint as you're in a small ring, just spin it out 180 RPM.
I couldn't imagine. Like you said, 3 for 3, all bad, and even if it's 100%, like you said, it's worrisome, and it is kind of like you said, it's kind of frustrating because it is there, but now there's always going to be this kind of, they put this kind of stain on it, in the back of consumers' minds, or maybe even like me as a YouTuber did that. But again, I bought the product thinking it was going to be ready, and same with even you guys, and even Luke. I think he bought the product as well. So we didn't get it for free and saying like, hey, go buy this. I bought it genuinely excited for the product, just being an enthusiast. So now there's gonna be this stain, and everyone will be like, "Is it ready though? Like, even though it's there, is it ready always? Like, So,
I think one of the dangers as well is, so like one of the reasons a Chinese electronic group set was so hard to do is because that SRAM and Shimano have so many patents, right? So luckily, L-TWOO, the boss, is a former patent lawyer and yada yada, so he gets around that stuff. But now L-TWOO also have, I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 60 or 70 of their own patents. So now no one else can do it now. Like I'm convinced that like if Sensor or someone also want to try to do electronic, like there's no chance. So literally L-TWOO is its last chance saloon. If they mess it up, we're all going to be at the whim of Shimano and SRAM forever. And so that's a big danger because several things could happen. Like number one, so you made a video yesterday or the day before, I think, suggesting or recommending that Specialized should go and buy L-TWOO because then they can have Roval group sets, yada yada yada. Yeah. Well, if they can fix it first, I'd like that. But yeah, not a bad idea. Like I could see that happening. They've got the money, why not? And also, free themselves.
In a business standpoint, 100%, like you said, you'd be freeing yourselves from the one component aspect that you don't have control of. They would literally have everything else on the bicycle is made by them, from the freaking grip tape to the seat to the tires to the tubes. Even they make everything on that bicycle to the spokes. So why not just be able to make your own group set as well? Which isn't crazy. Mavic did it back in the day. It just failed horribly. FSA is making it now. So if you literally brand this as Revolve, and then you could put it on your bikes, and then not only that, you could actually sell it off your website as a complete group. Revolve branded group, $900. I mean, I think it would be huge, but also people were like, oh, they would piss off Shimano or SRAM. So
I think it's super weird as well. So like, so we have, let's say like there's 10 main bike brands, but there's only 2 main component choices, right? Yeah. Imagine if all of the cars in the world, so you've got like, again, the 10 big car brands. Imagine if they're all using the same 2 engines. Like you only had 2 engine choices in the world. But it would be crazy. No one would do that.
It doesn't make any sense. I really do think L-TWOO has a good chance of coming on strong, as long as, like you said, it gets reliable out there.
And so I'd say danger number 2 is, and the thing that, if Shimano or SRAM aren't listening to this, I hope, but the worst case scenario would be Shimano or SRAM bought L-TWOO, and then just closes down the office, locks up all the patents, and just says, aha, still learning.
It could happen. I mean, and who knows? It's up to L-TWOO for selling it. I mean, it might be a big enough paycheck where they said, hey, I'm out the game, and they just throw it out. Or, like, I mean, everyone. I did the video, and the biggest thing that I got out of the comment section was Shimano 105 Di2 is so cheap that you don't even need to do it. But I keep on telling people, I'm like, the 105 Di2 price you're seeing online are all, like, super blowout deals from either bicycle manufacturers letting them go or people having way too much excess inventory. Retail in store for 105 Di2 from my store, if I just add it up all from Shimano, me ordering it, is like $1,800. So it's nowhere near the price of L-TWOO. And $650 of L-TWOO is direct to consumer. So there is a cost in there that they're making some money. So if Specialized gets it for X amount, cheaper than $650, they already make their own cranks. They get a chain cassette in there. I mean, and you put on a Tarmac SL8 to compete against a high end. You either have their S-Works SL8, that's like $14,000 with SRAM Red, or you have an S-Works SL8 with L-TWOO for like $8,000, $6,000, whatever it is. I don't know what the price would be, but you save the cost of $4,000 for the SRAM Red group. It could be really crazy, and they could stronghold the industry.
So I think also these days, like more and more frames, more and more bikes are coming out that you can only use electronic group sets. Let's not even talk about rim brake. I mean, rim brake has just fallen off a cliff, man. Like, and everyone knows I'm the biggest rim brake fanboy, and especially these days. Like, I look at my rim brake bike sitting on the corner, any of the, like with mechanical shifting and rim brakes. I'm just like, the simple days when a bike just worked and it weighed like 5.7 kilos.
I think even Chris Miller touched on this, and I made a video on this recently. I think I did like a rim brake bicycle. I was like, is rim brake still the best? And like, YouTube used to be a safe place where if you talk to a rim brake, you get views, you get people be like, oh, save the rim brake, yada yada. Now I do like a rim brake video, and people are like, yo, let it die. They're like, let it die. just move on to disc brakes. We're tired of the rim brake. There are still the few, but like it's not as big as what the enthusiasts maybe are just like, I don't know. But I guess some pretty harsh comments on that.
Yeah, it's the power of the industry. So I'm not going to be tinfoil hat and say it's a conspiracy or whatever. Like, the brands will have us believe that like they're listening to consumers, right? But like, no, because they're just taking away the choice. Like,
exactly, they're painting how it will be easier. And again, I made a video on this a long time ago talking about getting rid of rim brakes and why I think they really did get rid of rim brakes. And I said that the main thing was for integrated cables for bicycles, and it really the rim brake caliper really hindered their bicycle designs of how to internally route a rim brake cable, how to fit a disc brake caliper on a clean bike and not get dirty air off there. And I said it was the first thing with the Venge Vice. When they first put that bike in the wind tunnel, they're like, how do we move these rim brakes around? Then once they got hydraulic disc brake, they're like, oh, we could bend this freaking hose however which way we want and not have to worry about it. So I think that really did change the whole design of it. I can imagine them now making a integrated. They still do the Pinarello Dogma F, but I mean, like, I can imagine now them trying to push forward, like on these new bikes with these mechanical rim brakes. It'll be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So the thing that I heard from my sources is that they never fully solved the issue of carbon rims delaminating. Like, if you have a 100-kilo guy going down a steep hill, and so let's say you're going down a hill and there's a car in front of you going slowly and you can't overtake the car, then you've got to keep riding the brakes, and they will delaminate. Even now they have better resin tech that can go up like 260 degrees Celsius, I think, but still you can exceed those temperatures if you stuck behind a car or something. So,
especially with our weight and going downhill, hell yeah.
So I heard like they just couldn't solve that issue, and so they don't like dealing with all of the after sales logistics of trying to fit people out with new rims and trying to rebuild the wheels and blah 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 blah. So to stop that, they just switched to disc brakes, and then like disc braking will work. Obviously, Shimano's peak torque can give you an hour lecture on why Shimano's ice tech or whatever it's called is nonsense. But they can just say, oh, it's a consumable part, throw it away and buy a new disc rotor.
I mean, trust me, I get that firsthand with the industry. Like, even if I have a warranty issue with a warped rotor, a bad disc brake caliper, I get firsthand talking to these dealers, to these manufacturers, and they're like, well, it is a usable part. It is a wearable part. It should just be replaced. But they're like, if the customer's really pissed and irate about it and they're a good customer, we can replace it. But they really do look at that stuff as just like, hey, should be replaced. And yeah, but I will say, Florida, if you come to Florida for rim brakes, there are still a ton of rim brake bikes out here because of the fact that we're so flat. All of them, like, we don't need, like, that was never an issue with delaminating. The only delaminating rims that we had was Mad Fiber back in the day. That was would just delaminate crazy. But like, yeah, there wasn't enough force to really heat up. Literally, you just tap your brakes and you'd be good.
So like, I don't keep up with Shimano groupsets too much. So I know the new mechanical version of 105, mechanical shifting of 105 just came out, and it's disc brake only, right? There's no rim brake.
Yes.
But does Dura Ace still have rim brake, or is Dura Ace rim brake also dead? Wow.
No.
But SRAM Red still has a rim brake option, right? Or it did when it first came out?
SRAM Red 12-speed, yes, has rim brake option.
Which I've never seen. I've never, even like Instagram, I don't think I've ever seen anyone using that group set.
I've done a build with it. Tarmac S-Works SL5 rim brake 1x. Works great, but also a new Apex group as well, which is really cool. I like how they kind of, that's, again, like I said, when 105 came out with the new 12-speed, like, oh, 105 mechanical, everything, love it. Literally, just make a mechanical cable shifters, that's it, and add a disc brake or add a caliper. They act like it's such a pain in the ass, but like, they're advertising this disc brake group like people who want a mechanical usually go hand in hand with rim brakes, and I just feel like they've just missed the boat in that market, and now you have SRAM Apex with 12-speed rim brake that kills it with that. So,
and how heavy is it?
I don't know. I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't even order a kit.
Okay, and maybe that's going to be the new group sales of people. Apex Axis. Oh, but it's 1x only, right? You don't get a front or rear.
I don't think so. I didn't even look at it yet. I think the new Roubaix just launched, and they have an Apex version for like $4,000.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah.
But again, not rim brake.
Not rim brake. No, disc brake.
Okay. Crazy. Let me think. What else did we talk about? L2 compared to Shimano. So, okay. So there's one. I feel like there's a couple of options on the table. Number one, L2. Give up on electronic disc brakes and go back and make a mechanical rim brake group set, but not a budget one, a high-end one. Like, so I think for most people, SRAM Red 22 is like the peak of where rim brake technology got to. I want someone to go and pour a bunch of money into beating that group set and make the whole group set like, I don't know, let's say $500, which is a lot of money for a rim brake group set, but compared to disc brake group set, it's so cheap. So yeah, someone go and make me a creme de la creme Red 22 beating group set. That's what I want to see.
I mean, if if I wasn't selling wind space, I would have no bikes that would accommodate it too. Now, obviously, there's always going to be those select few people, or there's always going to be that group of people who still want a rim brake version. But you look at the whole industry, the only real companies that make, you have, this is appealing too because the Pinarello Dogma F has a rim brake version, and that's a high-end bike with a high-end group. But I can't think of any other bike brand out there that has a rim brake version bicycle still. Like a high, like a not a high-end one, but you know what I mean, like a mainstream one. I really don't like it.
I think Factor also, they were doing rim brake for a while, but I think Factor have also given up on rim brake now too. Like.
Yes, they have. I haven't seen Factor rim brake in forever. Who else was doing Pinarello Dogma F, and there was like one more company out there, but I forget. It's a dying breed. I mean, like the Colnago C64, I think was back in the day, and it's usually the Italian companies. It's very niche, but everyone else, no one's doing rim brake. And we always troll. Everyone always trolls and says they're gonna come out with a limited edition bike like 5 years from now, doing the ultra super light SL10 rim brake edition. You know, and they'll probably only make like 1,000 of them and be like $20,000. But I don't know.
I agree.
I think so too. I mean, I definitely think that will make a full circle. It always makes a full circle.
And then, so we've got one other option on the table as well, which is wheel top. So, I don't think you ever got your hands on one, but I think you saw on my channel, like they made like a group set that was
mountain bike one.
Yeah. So they made the mountain bike one. But now they have the road bike rim brake version that is also like ready to go. So it's funny. So it's rim brake in terms that, you know, it pulls cables to brake, but on every demo bike they've built so far, they put out like disc brake frame and then used cable actuated disc brakes, which is just like
so trash. It's so trash.
But they had it on the stand at the Shanghai bike show. And I rode it, and the shifting was very meh. And then so recently, they were doing the launch video shoot for it, and I had some behind the scenes footage of that. I knew one of the guys who was there, and he said it was a bit of a disaster. Like,
I mean, they have a very similar. I don't know what they're, like you said, with the patents. Who knows how that's going to work? And I'm not trying to shoot them down at all, but they have a very similar mountain bike group set to the big name guys like SRAM. How the shifter hoods and everything feel? What it looked like? Did it look good?
So
did it look bad?
The ergonomics of the shifters was really backwards. Like, I thought they'd installed them the wrong way, because the shifters kind of like they twist outwards. So your hands, like when you put your hands in front of you, you'll put your hands are usually at this angle, but their shifters, like your hands are kind of like at this angle. Like you have to twist out.
Maybe it's to get around patents. Who knows?
I don't think it's about patents, because so I see there are lots of like chat groups and stuff in China, and I tend to lurk in them and look at photos. I saw every so often I'll see a photo of a bike and it has a little tag under the saddle that says like wheel top R&D depot, and I think I sent you a picture of one the other day, and the bikes I just feel so badly. Like the saddles are pointing down like at this angle, and it's like the frame's too big and there's this much seat post sticking out.
I don't mean to dog on, but yeah, the one you sent me looked like one of those like Amazon bikes you see like Francis Cade or like Jeff from NorCal usually be like $200 Amazon bike versus what like whatever. It looks like they put wheel top on there. But with the rim brake version, I will say this: when I did the L2 video, I had maybe half my comments were L2 should make a 12 speed rim brake version because again, there is a lack for that of that inexpensive version. All they have is SRAM Red or now SRAM Apex, but I think they would dominate. I think I got half the comments for it. We're asking for a rim brake version of it.
I'll tell you, I can't say it's a secret, but I think L2 are focused on bike manufacturers. Like, they don't, I'm not going to say they don't care, but their focus is not on the end consumer thing. Like, so that's why, you know, they don't really care. No, I can't say they don't care.
No, I know what you mean, but it's a business at the end of the day, and they're appealing more. They're appealing more to what's going to sell more units. So I understand. What you're saying.
These big bike manufacturers come to them and place orders for like 40,000 sets at a time. Now, like I'm a small retail space, but if I go to them and let's say I place an order for 100 sets, like that is a drop in the ocean for them compared to 40,000 sets from a bike manufacturer. And so all these bike manufacturers these days, they only want to do disc brake bikes. So L2 just ask these complete bike manufacturers, like, what do you want from a group set? And if they don't say rim brakes, then L2 just won't make a rim brake version. So.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like you said, people always say, like, even for me, like, I understand exactly what you're talking about with being a drop-in bucket. Like, oh, people go, oh, why don't you speak up to Specialized, or why don't you speak up to this, or say you want this or this. I'm like, I'm just one store in this massive thing. Yes, I have this YouTube channel, but like, anytime I ask for more bikes because I have lack of SL8 frames, I'm only one store. So it's these companies are going to what's appealing more to the masses, and obviously the internet is working really well for them right now in that matter. So I understand what L2 is doing. I think I saw David Arthur do a video on what was it, Handsling? Some bicycle company that it's called like Handsling or something like that. I guess they spec a bike with L2. And I think I saw Yolio spec a bike with L2 already that you can like buy it pre-made. Which is pretty cool.
There's a few big brands in the Asian area, like Twitter and Sava and Java and Trink.
Java.
You don't even know, man. You don't even know. And these guys are the guys who are placing like big orders, because these guys like there's lots of people buying these bikes in Asia that we don't really know about in the West.
You gotta talk to them over there with their names. Every time I do a review on like a China product, someone goes, "Man, these names are not it."
Man. I was trying. So like going back to what you just said about just being one guy and not being able to influence Specialized or whatever. So like when I joined WinSpace at the time, that like WinSpace had like 12, 13 people. And so in the beginning, like no one listened to me because I was just the dumb guy who knew nothing. But like when I started to assimilate the team, started to increase sales and stuff, they're like, okay, let's start listening to this guy. And so very quickly in that company, like I got a lot of influence and like I could steer the direction. So that's why the last generation of Hyper even had rim brake and disc brake versions, blah, 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 blah. But then when the company got up to like around 100 people, which compared to Specialized is nothing, but like, because my influence in the company got so small, like that was one of the reasons I left, just because I lost my influence. Like you saw Mega come out without a rim brake version.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't dramatic. Like if you don't make a rim brake version, I quit. But like that was like a part of the reason. Like I lost the ability to steer the company. I was like, if you don't do a rim brake version, it's not a WinSpace product. Like our brand is about standing up for the little guy, blah blah blah. And they're like, now we need to put it out because investors won't return on their money. I'm like, well, suck my dick.
Yeah, right. It's brutal, man. I mean, it is brutal in that matter of like, and I will say that once, I don't know where you left that time period of the Mega launch, but I think I first saw the Mega Wheel on your channel at the Shanghai Bike Show. And then it was a very soft launch. I've obviously heard about it beforehand, just with the YouTube and talking WinSpace and everything like that. But they like always hint at it. They never showed me anything. They say, hey, we have a new wheel coming out. And I saw it, and it gave, even when it's like, it never really like officially launched. Like they did like Instagram posts, but like when you had the Hyper D45 and D67s, you had like a whole YouTube video fucking plan for it. You had the whole models breakdown. These are live this date. This is what it is. You guys had like, it was a really good launch, a really well planned launch. But yeah, like now I talk to the guys at One Space like, yeah. I'm like, oh, the Meg wheels in stock. Like, yeah, they've been in stock for a while. I'm like, okay,
I think,
very soft.
And that's supposed to be like a trend with these Chinese companies, because I think that's very similar to eRX, right? So they did their launch event, but like there was never and like Pete talked about this before, because he went to talk to my Eurobike. Like, so they keep saying that they keep updating it, right? Like, so every batch is a little bit different. And so Pete talked asked him, so Pete talked asked him, like, so when's it done? Like, when is it version 1.0? And like, there's never an answer. I think it was a similar sort of thing with Mega. Like, they're like, oh, well, we're not sure if there's going to be issues with the first batches, so we'll just do a small amount of quantity. And we're like, and yeah, like, this is one thing that these Chinese companies need to stop doing. Like, and I can respect that. So Shimano, they have the money they can build 1,000 test units and send them around the world, and then test them for 2-3 years before they get any return on that investment. Whereas these smaller companies, like, they can't afford to do that. Like, they spend all this money, like, making new molds and doing the research for it. Like, they need to get some return on that investment ASAP. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think it's going to kill them. And I think that's one thing we can start to summarize and finish up this chat now. Is like, how do we fix the L2 problem? If you're the boss of L2, Mr. Grant in the CEO boardroom with his nice little necktie on, you put your hand down on the table. How do you fix it? What do you fix?
I don't know. I really don't. You have to fix something internally on there. Something's causing it to run. Again, like I said, mine's working great. I have no issues with mine now. I haven't had any issues with mine. Your twos are.
I'm gonna remind you first when it breaks in like a month.
Yeah. Yours and Trace's are working bad. That sounds like an issue for an engineer or a software guy or something with the PCB, or maybe they need better water logging or something like that. I have no idea. But like you said, I'd be pissed if I launched it. But who knows? I don't know. They seem very relaxed over there. Even when they have one of my issues, like, hey, you could do this if you want. If not, we'll send you a new group out. I don't know. I'm not good at that stuff. I'm just good at. That's one thing I'll say about me. I'm not good at explaining things, but if it's in front of me and I can start tinkering with it, I can fix it. But I don't know how to explain how to like what I'll do to it.
So like
what would you do?
So thank you. Thanks for asking. I was totally setting myself up to answer this question. So I'm in like group chats with staff at L2, and like I'm telling to do this stuff, but they don't listen. But so maybe they'll listen. I'll tell you what I will do. Number one, more transparency. You need to have version numbers. So like, with apps on the phone, you have version 2.1 and version 2.2 or 2.2.1. Like, if it's a bug fix, it gets a point change. If it's a major update, then it turns to 3.0.
Yeah.
Every version, you need a catalog. What are the changes? What did you fix? And then when customers go to buy it, they can see clearly which version they're buying. So this is step one, more transparency. Let people know what version they have. Let people know what's new in that version, what has been fixed, etc. Number two, have a set policy. Like, if I buy version 2 and version 3 comes out, like, am I in trouble? Like, can I upgrade? Can I trade it in? Whatever.
Yeah.
Number three, service centers. I think we talked about it a bit earlier. Like, put a service center in America, put a service center in Europe. Let customers know if they have an issue, the service center will deal with it directly.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing is the service center. I think they need more reliability and a place that a consumer can go complain and actually get someone to talk to instead of just getting an email and taking 2 or 3 days back. If you spend money with this company, you should be able to either call or say, hey, get a written response back within 24 hours.
And the next one I'd say is like slow down. Because I saw just a few days ago, they launched the, what's it called? eRG, the gravel 1x version of eRX. I'm like, bro, eRX is still broken and you're bringing out new stuff?
Yeah, I didn't see the launch of it yet, but I've heard about it. And they like when they mentioned to me that they sent me on a group, like, oh, we also have the eRG coming. I'm like, I have no need for that. It's cool. It's a really cool idea. And like I said, I think they really do hit the nail on the head with the user ability and the 10, 11, 12 speed stuff, but they need to fix what's broken.
Well, coincidentally, mine and Trace's, most of our issues are with the front derailleur these days. So this gravel version, no front derailleur, Big brain, big brain.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you fix the problem.
That front derailleur box is massive. It reminds me of the 105 Di2 12-speed box.
I know what's inside it now because Trace Velo took his apart.
Like I said, I'm down to do a video if I don't know how to edit it good, but like if I could do like a test video like with all these other people where they literally just smash it with a hammer and just see how it goes. I don't mind. I don't mind doing it. But again, like I said, mine's working really good. I have no problems with it. And again, people always like, I might not do the most extensive testing with riding. I might not do expensive testing with this, but I'm a brute when it comes to stuff on there. And like whenever I put stuff on there, you saw the videos of when I sent you shifting. I will literally shift the crap out of it. I will bend the shit out of it. I will try to make it break while I'm on it to get a YouTube view of it. You know, like obviously if it fails, there's a reason why it failed, and obviously we can bring it to attention. So I know how to make stuff break because I obviously work in the bicycle industry.
Grand break stuff, cool.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a 200-pound man. I'm just fat.
Well, if ever I make some products, I'll send them to you for testing as well. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so I think this covers about the end of this session talking about L2. For the people watching, if they want to learn more about GC, what should they do?
Go to my YouTube page.
Awesome.
Go to GC Performance YouTube, and I have a bunch of videos that I pump up unnecessarily amount of content that might not be needed, but if you ever need stuff, I have tips and tricks on everything out there. Handlebar tape wrap, useless information, useful information, Di2 fixing, ETAP fixing, whatever you guys want, it's over there, so check it out.
And where's your store in Florida? If we're in the neighborhood, I need to...
Deerfield Beach, Florida. We have Bicycle Generations is the name of the store. We have an e-commerce online. We sell pretty much in the United States, I think even Canada as well. But we have everything on there in terms of whatever bicycle needs you need. We have discount codes we run all the time. We're having new kits come out very soon that once they are done, I'll give you one, Joe. Really cool kind of Miami Vice looking kit. So I'm excited for it.
Can you say Deerfield Beach, Florida?
Deerfield, yeah, deer, like a deer.
Oh, Deerfield. Okay,
yeah.
Deerfield.
Yeah.
Are there many deers?
No, not at all. It's a very city.
Are there any fields?
No, it's all city. I think it was deers and fields at one point.
Until you came along.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it was good to talk. I'm going to talk to Trace Velo about his issues in a few hours for everyone watching. It should be seamless, moving magic transitions, and we can get his take on it. But Grant, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your take. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of Grant's beard. You think I should try replicate that? We'll see how we go. But yeah, cheers, Grant.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, and from the magic of editing, the bearded giant has changed to the unbearded giant. For those who don't know you, can you give everyone a quick introduction?
Yeah, sure thing. So my name's, as always, is Luke, I guess.
Yep.
And I run a little YouTube channel called Trace Velo. I mean, if you followed any of the sort of like cheap Chinese cycling stuff, you might have come across me. But yeah, here to give my 2 cents, basically.
You're not allowed to say you're a small channel. You got like 100K subscribers planned.
I did get that, and I'm like verified now on YouTube as well. So
wow, Mr. Big Pants over here. Okay, well, thanks for making time for me, little old China cycling here. But no, congratulations on the 100K. That you got there very quick, and I know it's not easy. You know, we can bitch and moan about how hard our life is and stuff, but yeah, it is harder than people think, like, especially the videos you make when you're doing these really detailed builds and showing people how to build it, like, because building a bike these days anyway takes hours. But then when you're trying to set up the camera angle for everything and make sure it's in focus, like, people don't understand how much work goes into your videos. So yeah, respect for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I do really try and make it like relatively good quality. Plus, I do overindulge myself in it a little bit as well. I need to cut back on that because I need to be a bit better at churning stuff out. But anyway, sorry, go on.
But like, so for example, 4 or 5 days ago, you dropped your Chinese electronic group set review. Like, how many hours do you think you've sunk into that review? Like, we'll ignore testing, but like building the bike, researching, shooting and editing? Roughly how many hours?
Oh God, I don't know. Probably. I mean, it's got to be hundreds. Maybe 100 hours, something like that. Maybe 150 hours.
Yeah,
That end
that's
to
it.
end, you know.
I can believe that. So yeah, 100 hours work goes into it. AdSense money, you know, I might make a video on this one day, but I guess so far your AdSense money for that video is really like, $200. So you get paid
Yeah.
$2 an hour.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, and then so the subject of today is you do this video, you spend 100 hours on it, you're happy with it, this is representative of the product, and then what happens just 3 or 4 days after you uploaded this video?
I know, it's so frustrating because I had such high hopes, and I thought I'd given the group set, like, we're talking the eRX group set from L2, right? So I thought I'd given it a really good shakedown. I mean, I'd put it on, I'd had absolutely no problems. The app was working really well. Everything was flawless. I wrote it, put it together, wrote it in the rain. I really tried to kill it, and it didn't die. And I was like, okay, maybe these first sort of bugs have been ironed out now because I'd got a slightly like later model. So I'm sure you spoke with Grant about this, but the battery compartment, mine had the coil spring rather than the leaf spring, so it was a slightly like older gen, as it were. But so I thought they'd ironed out all the kinks, but then I spend all this time on this review, and then literally 2 days ago I just unplug the front derailleur and it dies on me, and I've tried everything to get it back to work, to get it back to life, and it's just nothing happens, and it's complete. It's dead. It's dead. So it renders my all the well, a lot of the work I did in that review just like moot, because I mean, you can want something to be good, and you can like wish and pray, but the minute it doesn't work, everything you've said about it is useless. So yeah, really frustrating.
Yeah, I think a bit later on we can talk about why we had such high hopes and why we still hope that someone can fix this whole electronic groupset problem thing. But yeah, it is like you say. So far, so Grant had his issues with his like going to sleep and not waking up.
Yep.
I had my issues with waterproofing, and now my front derailleur died, but mine was able to be fixed. And now you've had issues with your front derailleur dying. So like us three are the YouTubers who've probably been giving it a good run for its money. You've got client, there's a few other guys out there with it now as well, but like of those three, we have 100% failure rate.
Yeah, I know, it's a bit ridiculous, really. I'm really frustrated with it. I'm really frustrated with it because there's a kind of a whole process I've gone through with this cheap stuff. So I'm willing to give a lot of things a bit of a pass. So there's a reason a lot of these products are a lot cheaper. So if maybe they don't come with a manual, or you don't get torque specifications, or maybe customer service is a bit rubbish, I can give it a pass because it's so much cheaper. But with this eRX stuff, I was kind of hoping we would be turning a bit of a corner away from just this kind of like dog shit cheap stuff into a slightly more like, not premium, but kind of like a budget premium kind of segment where it costs less, but you're not constantly trying to figure out little tricks and tips to make it work properly. And so with the cheap stuff, you have to go into it with a mindset, the really cheap stuff of, at least this is how I do it, you don't pay with a lot of money, but you pay with time, and that's always the way it goes. So a lot of the stuff I say is, if you're going to be using this cheap stuff, put it on the bike, use it, but try and be cautious for at least the first 100, 200 miles, because that's generally when stuff tends to go downhill, and then you have to start chasing up little fixes that maybe you have to do yourself, or chasing the manufacturer, which is often fruitless. With the eRX stuff, I was hoping we'd get away with that. Get away from that towards just a more like robust product where you're not just like chasing your tail all the time trying to fix things. Because ultimately, if you pay 20 quid for a saddle and it breaks, fine. Like I can deal with that. Like that's understandable. I'm the eRX stuff is cheap, so it's what 500 quid. So it's a lot. It's relatively a lot cheaper than the big brands, but you're still dropping 500 400 or 500 quid on a group set. So I can no longer give it that leeway that I give the ultra budget products. And that's what's so frustrating about it for me, is that I thought we were turning a corner towards just a slightly better consumer experience with this stuff, but it's not happened. I'm like 2 days ago it was perfect. But then now I've spent probably 4 hours just sat on the floor in that garage, pulling the group set apart, trying to make it work. And I shouldn't have to do that, especially for that amount of cash. So yeah, disappointing.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like, even if we go for the YouTube rate of $2 per hour, like you're still putting in a fair bunch of hours work, and that cost going to come back to you. And yeah, so for the everyday consumer, it is just at the point where, like, do you recommend eRX, or do you just say bite the bullet and go for 105 Di2?
Oh God, I mean, I really like my deep belief says that I can't recommend you go and choose Shimano, but like I can't in good conscience recommend people go and buy this group set, because it can work 99. I mean, you mentioned this earlier. It can work 99% of the time, but that 1% it doesn't work. The point is moot, right? And that's. I mean, I had a guy in my comments saying, like, what if I had just come down in the morning, I had like a crit race, and I needed to get out on the bike, like you can't trust this group set 100%, and that's the main issue with it. Like, you just want to get on your bike and ride, but with this eRX group set, that trust has been eroded away for me. So no, I can't recommend the group set. What I will say though is that the price of 105 Di2 has come down quite a lot in the last 3-4 months, since eRX has gone a little bit more mainstream. So maybe that's just the market, responding to the fact that Di2 is now been out for a little while and prices just decrease over time. But I've got to think that having like the eRX groups are out there did put a bit of pressure on retailers and on Shimano to potentially lower the cost.
Yeah, me and Grant were talking about a similar thing, and I mentioned a nightmare scenario that, like, what if Shimano or SRAM purchase L-TWOO and then just like close the office and all of their patents, just put them in a huge safe, and then just jack up the prices of 105?
Yeah, sure. I guess that's like a real risk in a way, because if they did want to eliminate L2 as a competitor, they could just buy them out, I suppose. Yeah,
because like
let's not
give them ideas. No. Yeah, no. But like, so you've got to imagine, the three of us have 100% failure rate, let's call it that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, sure.
So in their own testing, they must also have, like, I can't believe that us three just have really bad luck and we're breaking it.
Okay.
And in their own testing, no one breaks anything.
Well, so this is, I was thinking about this a lot recently, because, I mean, it stemmed from a comment that Peak Talk made in, I think he was at a bike show, and he had a look at the group set. And it was about the iterative nature at which they essentially test in live, right? So they put out a product, and then, a month later, a couple of weeks later, they've made a change. So we've seen this. Well, I've seen this with a couple of things. I mean, most notably, I suppose, was Sensar with their Empire group set. They changed the little plastic lever that shifts inside. When that snapped on me, they updated it to a metal one. One of the issues was that as a consumer, you didn't know when you were buying it which one you got. So Pete Talk mentioned this and said, yeah, how as a consumer are we supposed to know? Like, fair enough, go and iterate and make the product a bit better over time. But as a consumer, how do you know which one you're getting? And L2 kind of just shrugged it off and said, like, oh, well, if you have any problems, you've got a 2-year warranty, right? So that's, I don't know, is that maybe in Western markets we're just used to buying the product and having it as a final thing, and maybe they'll, with it like iPhone, right? You get the iPhone 14, year later you get the 15, year later 16, and for that product cycle, nothing changes for that product. In Chinese markets, is that the same? I mean, I guess you'd be able to answer this, right? Is there less of an expectation that the product that you buy is the final one?
I think it's a territories thing, but I also think it's an industry thing. So like when I was in the UK, I was in the video game industry. And so these days in the video game industry, there also seems to be a bit of like, on day one, you ship it.
Day one
and
patch, sure.
Yeah, and the game may or may not be playable on day one, like, because there's like, we've got this deadline, and we're shipping this hell or high water, and let's just hope we can patch it in post. Like, I feel like the Chinese bike industry has grown up playing too many games or something, and they have the same mentality, like, let's get it out the door, and let's try fix it with a patch. But then it comes down to, if you've got hardware updates, like you say, the little plastic bit change into metal in the sensor group set, or the leaf spring change to a coil spring, like, you can't patch that in firmware, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I was having to think about why it's necessary for them to do this, and I slapped a bit on the end of one of my videos where I just discussed it. But I think if you look at the likes of SRAM and Shimano and the big boys, right? They've got a lot of money in the bank. So they're big corps, they've got a lot of cash in reserves, right? So when you're creating a new product, it's an expensive process, right? You got to spend a lot of time in R&D. You've got to spend loads of money creating the molds for plastic parts. You've got to spend time searching for suppliers, talking to designers, and then you've got the testing phase, which, yeah, it can take, I don't know, as long as it takes. But essentially, to create a new product it's a big upfront cost for a company. So if SRAM and Shimano and big brands are doing this, they're going to have the reserves to take their time with bringing a new product to market. Whereas I think with a company like L2, they're a big company, right? But they're not enormous. They don't have masses of reserves of cash like SRAM and Shimano. So if they're going to bring a new product to market, they're going to want to realize the like profit and realize the value from those new products as soon as possible. And I think that's the reason why they tend to iterate in live, as it were. So they kind, I don't know, I kind of, it's tough to say, but I think they rush these products to market, right? They do. I mean, we've seen it time and again, and I think that's just the way they kind of have to operate, especially when you're because the eRX group set, for a company that's never created an electronic group set before, there's a lot of stuff to navigate and a lot of new technologies to bring to the forefront. So it's going to be a really expensive process. So it's understandable that L2 are going to want to bring that thing to market ASAP. And then the trouble is we get issues like this, right? We get the random iterations that no consumer can see. So we had the battery issue in the case with this the eRX group set. And then also I think Grant saw that they changed the rear derailleur hanger. So it was both sides were carbon on the older versions, and then he got a later one, and then the back plate of it was aluminium. So it's these kind of iterations. I think it's kind of, they have to do it because they need to get that product out and they need to recognize profit from it as soon as they can. Otherwise, they're gonna bankrupt themselves. So they don't have the luxury of the big brands to just like funnel millions of dollars into product development just to make sure that when they hit go on that product, it is perfection. They don't have that luxury. So maybe that's just something we're gonna have to like expect and deal with until L2 or these other smaller brands get a bigger market share. Maybe that's just what we have to wait for.
Yeah, and I think like people don't realize like, say, obviously we all think Shimano and SRAM prices are overinflated, etc., but
yeah.
let's take a 105 group set, like just the electronic gubbins of it. Like if you compare it to like a wish.com drone, which, you know, you can buy a drone on wish.com for like $20-$30, right? And it can fly around and be like, okay, it's cheap, it's crappy, blah, blah, blah. But like the components in that are probably worth more than the components in a 105 Di2 rear derailleur. And so the actual production cost of a 105 group set for Shimano, I imagine if we're just talking about the shifters, front derailleur, rear derailleur, battery, the production cost, I'm guessing, is like $50. And so the rest of the price is on that research and development and on, you know, all that time that they spent where they put in the money and not got the money out yet. So yeah, and I think that is also why L2 can have this attitude of like, well, if anyone has a problem, we'll just send them a new one, because, you know, a rear derailleur for L2, I have no insider information, and I'm no engineer, but I imagine a rear derailleur for L2, including the carbon, including everything, their production cost is probably like less than $20. So if someone has an issue with a rear derailleur, I'll send you a new rear derailleur. I can send you multiple rear derailleurs and still have made profit from it. So I guess there's a bit of that attitude, and that's fine. Like, but also one thing that I think we don't get to see is, are they actually doing that, right? Because like I feel like us YouTubers, we have the hotline to all of these HQs. You know, as soon as you have an issue, you get an email in your inbox saying, "Oh, hey, I saw you had a problem with your thing." Blah, 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 blah. But when everyday customers, when they have a problem, are they getting the same service? If they're getting the same service, I feel like it might be an okay attitude to have. Like, you know, put it out there. Okay, I wish they're a bit more transparent and say like it's still in beta,
exactly.
or yours is version something. But if you do have a problem, don't worry, I'll send you another one. And if they do actually send people new ones, and I think it's kind of okay. But yeah, at the moment, that's just the question mark.
It's okay from a business standpoint to do that, but from an end consumer point, like that's still a garbage like experience, because like I mentioned, like these group sets are they're like cheap comparatively, but they're not cheap. It's not like 50 quid or something, or like 50 euros. It's you're spending 500 quid, $700 potentially, and then if you get landed with some import fees as well, I mean, you could be close to 700 quid, $900 at the end of the day. So it's cheaper, and fair enough. Like they can send you a new rear derailleur because it costs them nothing, but they're going to lose. Well, they're going to lose customers. They're going to lose brand reputation very swiftly. If they take that approach, because they can do that from a business standpoint, because they can just say, okay, fine, if you have any problems, we'll just send you a new one, you know, problem solved. But it doesn't really work that way, and that attitude isn't sustainable in the long run.
So your last cycling holiday, you went to Mallorca, I forget.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So if you were going on a holiday to Mallorca, would you take a bike with eRX on it?
I mean, I would, because I'm a glutton for punishment, right? So, but if I was just like just like Joe Public, and I like just needed to get out and cycle and not have to faff around, then no. Well, why would I put myself through the pain of doing that? Like, I mean, you raise a good point there, right? So what if you're a rental company, and you want to get a fleet of bicycles, and you're looking at electronic group sets, and you can get eRX wholesale, and you're like, okay, great, I can save 2/3 of the cost of buying Ultegra Di2 for my bikes. It's 12 speed. It works with all my Shimano compatible gear. Why wouldn't I do this? The minute you have any downtime on any of your bikes is money lost to you. So why would you take a risk on eRX? I mean, you mentioned it, I think, to me in a message the other day. It's the same if you think about a race team. A race team is never going to adopt L2 eRX group sets, because you can't risk having to like swap bicycles mid-race, or like the start when they like start the stage, like their front derailleur just dies on them. You can't take that chance. So it's super frustrating, and L2 really need to sort this out, because if they want to play in the big leagues with the big boys, they need to have the product reliability to back this up.
So yeah, like if you took your bike to Mallorca, and yeah, you know, the first day you get out of the box, you plug everything back in, and just the front derailleur's dead, and you're stuck in the small ring.
Yeah.
Holiday gone. Like you've put a couple of £100 into your EasyJet or Ryanair flights or whatever it is, and yeah, are you going to be able to find a new L2 front derailleur in Tenerife?
This is another thing, right? So it's the whole serviceability. So I guess, again, this comes back to my point that I waffled about in the first sort of the start of this. If a products are cheaper, if you've got a really cheap saddle or a really cheap, I don't know, set of wheels with some random cheap hubs, fine. There's an expectation that, yeah, you go to a bike shop and they're not going to have those parts in, and you're going to have to sort yourself out. But with again, you're spending a lot of money on this group set, and there's no, if it worked like out of the box and you had no problems, fine, great. But it doesn't, and we've shown that, like, on all three of our test sets, we've all had problems. You can't just go to a local bike shop and get a replacement or get a fix. Like, the customer service isn't as good. You're not going to get a response within like a couple of hours, like you probably would with Shimano. Also, like you said, if the front derailleur breaks, if I had a Shimano Di2 group set, I could just get onto Shimano warranty. I could probably have a replacement delivered to my house within the week, maybe within like 2-3 days. L2, you're going to be, especially for me in the UK, and if you're in the States, you're going to be waiting weeks for that thing to get here, at which point your bike is absolutely useless. So that's a whole nother side of this. Is A, you've got the product and you've got the issues there, but B, you've got the serviceability of it and the warranty repairs, and yeah, that whole side is another whole argument as to why you should go for one of the big brands. But I really wanted, I thought this group set was going to be the one. I thought it was going to be the turning point for these cheaper Chinese products. I had so much faith in it. And when it worked fine for the first 250 miles, I was like, yes, this is it. Maybe Joe and Grant just had some like early bugs, and I've finally figured it out or whatever, or got a later version. It's all fine. But no, it all came crashing down yesterday.
Yes. And so that's the thing. Like, so if this group, I guess that's why we're giving it a hard time, and that's part of the whole roller coaster saga of the whole thing as well. Like, if it was just trash, it would be easy. That we just all laugh about it, would make videos, ha ha ha, life goes on. But because it has so much potential, and because when it's good, it's so good, it just makes it even more crushing when it is what it is.
Exactly. I mean, it has quite a lot of like benefits over SRAM and Shimano in many ways. I mean, well, it's cheaper, but that aside, you've got the 10, 11, and 12 speed selection on the app. You can switch it over, which is something that Shimano and SRAM are probably never going to offer, because they want to gatekeep you having to choose a higher spec group set to unlock those bigger tiers. So that's something which, because L2 are a bit disruptive and they're trying to compete, they can offer that. Shimano and SRAM could offer that, because all it is a software change, but they're not going to, because they want to gatekeep you in their little ecosystem and whatever they choose that to be. But so, I mean, that's a benefit over L2, and that's why it was so exciting in a lot of ways. You had these like innovations that SRAM and Shimano and the big boys weren't able to offer, but because there wasn't this like sort of legacy ecosystem that L2 were trying to keep consumers inside of, they were able to break out of that and offer these things which the big boys couldn't. So that it was so exciting, and it was in a lot of ways, it was a culmination of what I'd been waiting for a long time, which was like legitimacy from these upstart Chinese brands. But same old story, right? Same old story.
Yeah.
Like teething issues.
Yep. But I feel like we're all on this train that's heading in this direction, and that is bikes these days, bike frames especially, are getting designed more and more that you have to have electronic hydraulic disc brakes. Like if you have mechanical brakes, the cable wiring's too bad, so you'll have really bad braking. And then there just might not be enough room to put mechanical wires for shifting through the frame either. So, even the Chinese brands and your favorite Trifox, which we might talk about in a minute, their offerings, even their offerings are getting less and less in terms of like the group sets that you can use. So we're all being pushed, like being herded like sheep into this corner where you need to use hydraulic electronic group sets. And yeah, the choice is Shimano or SRAM. And then we thought we had this way out of this corner where, okay, we can have this other option that won't be so expensive. But no, it looks like it may take some more time still.
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah, it is so frustrating because I mean, competition at the end of the day is good for the consumer, right? So it's only ever a good thing to have. I mean, I see a lot of comments that say, why would you bother? Why do you bother even looking into these things? What's the point when you can just spend your money and get like stuff from SRAM, Campac, Shimano, whatever? Why would you bother? The point is, competition is good. At the end of the day, more competition in the market is there's only a benefit for the consumer. All it does is pit companies against each other, and they end up competing on price. And that's why it's so disappointing that L2 have dropped the ball on this one. Because if it had been flawless and worked without any problems, SRAM and Shimano and Campag and the big boys would have started to get really, really worried. But L2 have dropped the ball on this one and they've stuffed it. So yeah.
Also, I think back to your point as those guys who say, "Oh, what's the point? Why not just buy from the big boys?" Blah blah blah. I think something's coming with the big boys that lots of people don't realize. Like in other industries, you see a lot about like the right to repair. Apple is obviously the big case in point, but I feel like Shimano and SRAM and those guys are going to start going down this route as well. Like so, this current wave of Di2 being really popular has only been like the last 5 years or so. In another 5 years, because all these motors have a certain motor life, right? When all of these motors start burning out and you can no longer buy your 11-speed Di2 rear derailleur, what do people do? Like, you throw the rest of the group set in the bin? And I think the latest, for example, the 12-speed Di2 battery is different to the 11-speed one, right? Because the cable's different sizes. So if in the future you can't buy the 11-speed battery either, your battery has a lifespan to it. So again, I feel like this was one good thing about L2 with the battery, for example. You can take out the battery cells inside and put in new battery cells. So you're not effed if your battery dies. But with Shimano and stuff, when these batteries start dying, people have to throw away the whole group set, which again, I'm sure is what Shimano want. And I'm sure they've built into it very nicely how long these things will last. And they have nice charts of when customers will become repeat customers, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like this whole right to repair thing and all of this electronic gizmos starting to die in a few years' time is going to be a big thing.
No, I agree with you. I think it's inevitable that that's the way it's going to go, because they want to control their ecosystem so finitely that that's why L2 was going to be really good, because they were going to disrupt that, like you say, that you can swap out the batteries and stuff like that, and it is really, really disappointing, and I can't recommend them. Maybe we'll see there'll be a firmware update, because I'm pretty confident that my issue where the front derailleur died, I'm pretty confident that that reeks of a software issue to me. So I still hold out hope that in like 6 months' time it will be the final unit and it will work incredibly well. I think I was thinking about it last night actually, because I used to work in app development at one of my old jobs. Because it's not just the hardware. This product is 50% hardware, 50% software. You've got to put time and effort into developing the software for this group set, right? I think in the same way that they rush through the hardware changes and they make iterative changes to the hardware, they do the same on the software side, right? So I assume they probably rushed out the firmware without much quality assurance QA testing, because that's often where these projects get pushed, is to QA, because it's the final part of the process, and they're like, I need to get this out ASAP, so QA goes out the window. That's probably what happened. So yeah, I'm still confident that, I don't know about confident, hopeful maybe is a better way to put it, that in 6 months this will genuinely be a really good product. But for now, steer clear. I mean, if you want to go in and you want to like be a part of this process of problem solving, then be my guest. But if I'm spending $600, $700 on a group set, it's not going to be L2, or at least not the eRX, that's for sure.
And you did spend $600 on your group set, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's not forget,
it's
you paid for yours.
Cash. Yeah, my own hard-earned cash.
Your $2 an hour salary. Say you did. You did 1,000. No, sorry, you did 350 hours of work to earn that group set.
Something like that. But yeah, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. But like, I can't recommend it. Like, if you want to get in on this, and maybe you're looking at building a group set in the next, a bike up in the next 6 months, maybe wait 6 months and see where we're at. But right now, no good.
I also think that your front derailleur will come back to life. Like, I think, whether through software or however, like leaving it unplugged for a few days or putting it in the oven, I don't know someone's gonna fix it. I don't think it's dead.
I hope not. I mean, I had a lot of comments to say, because I did some quite thorough rain testing. I left it outside in the rain, rode in the rain, the pouring rain, a couple of times. With water ingress issues, it can take a couple of days to manifest. So it could well be that it was all working fine, and then I took it off, and the water happened to just corrode one of the small, like hair thickness wires inside the front derailleur. So I don't know. I pulled the casing off it yesterday to have a very quick look inside, and there was nothing untoward in there. There were some points for water ingress, so that's definitely something I'm gonna have to have a look at later. But who knows? And this is the annoying thing, that when you're one of the first people to pick these group sets up and these products up, you're on the front line of testing these things, because L2 haven't done the testing, so they don't know what's wrong with it. There's no forums that can tell you, oh, this is a known issue, try this thing, You're just going to have to work it out yourself. So
so I feel like our jobs as reviewers are getting harder and harder as well, because, like I say, you'd literally just put I'm not going to say the stamp or seal of approval, but like, you pretty much just said, this is it, guys. Go nuts. And I'm sure people watched your video and went straight to AliExpress and pressed the buy button, because I've seen this firsthand when I've been working at other companies and YouTubers have made videos. And now a few days later, you have to go, whoa. And I'm sure lots of people have gone to cancel their orders or whatever. So like, it's really hard. Like, it's going to make us in the future as well, like, a lot less confident to say, yo, go out and buy this thing. But
I was thinking about this yesterday, and I'm gonna have to I've been stung a couple of times recently where I've given things what I think is a really good thorough testing, and then a couple of days after the video goes up, something goes wrong, and they always break or fail in the most unexpected way. Like, who would have thought that the group set was working absolutely flawlessly, and I unplug the front derailleur, and then when I come to plug it back in, it's completely dead? Like, how can you even begin to foresee that as a problem? So I think, I'm gonna have to be, we, I guess, as reviewers, are gonna have to be very careful in what we provide a stamp of approval on. yeah, I think caveats all round. And I want to be able to put like thousands of miles and test it out, but I can't. Like, how can I do that? How can I spend a year doing
Just
a product review? Like, it's not feasible. So
and so shameless plug, like this is one of the things that I want like Panda Podium to turn into. Like I want every product to have like a discussion page, and so that people can see like what is the actual deal with this thing, because I use it or you use it or 10 YouTubers use it. Like if 10 YouTubers use it and have no issue, that doesn't mean it's bulletproof, whatever. So I want to have more reviews up on the site, like user reviews and community reviews, so that people can we have a better idea of what's going on with this stuff. So that's what I'm trying to work on as well.
Yeah, you've got a really like unique like platform to offer that kind of thing. So yeah, for sure. I think if you can get that up and running, like, and have some like have Panda Podium be a real sort of the center of knowledge for these products. Yeah, for sure. You've got a really, really good opportunity to get that, for sure.
And so like I was working on my review and your review came out.
Yeah.
And so like I was all happy and positive. Like I thought, because it had been a month or 2 months since my whole waterproofing issue, and I was really happy, really confident. And so just now, I was actually I said, like, after people watched your video, I bet loads of people went out and bought it. In fact, I was one of the people. Literally after watching your review, I was like, okay, traces is fine too. And I placed an order with L-TWOO for eRX group sets.
Oh,
quite a big order. Like I can cancel it anytime, so it's no worries. But like, yeah, I'm one of the people who got stung, going like, oh yeah, okay, traces is good as well. Let's go. And then literally a day later, mine breaks, and a day and a half later, yours breaks. I'm just like, oh god, what have I done?
It's definitely a software issue. But it doesn't detract from the fact that it's still broken. I still can't use it, and it's still useless. Like it's as if the whole front derailleur has snapped in half. Like yeah.
So like the question then, tomorrow you become the CEO of L-TWOO. What do you do? How do you fix it?
Oh god, how do you? I mean, like I said, the L-TWOO clearly. Well, I don't know their financials, right? But they won't have loads of money to funnel into testing for all of these products. So how do you fix it? Like the way they're going about it is, if you think logically, what one of the not best ways, but it's a way to approach this, right? Is to put a product out and then iterate really fast for the first few months of that product cycle. To try and iron out those bugs, because it means you don't have to spend all the time on testing and research when you're getting no value from that at all, because you're not selling anything. So how do you do it? You know what? I don't know, because ultimately, in order to test things properly and in order to really get a product out to market when it's 100% perfection, that is going to take it just takes time and money to do that. There are ways you can go around it to cut costs. I mean, again, Peak Talk kind of touched on this. We as reviewers now, we are in many ways, companies are starting to use us as beta testers. So I've had a number of products. I've had a couple of wheel sets and other bits where I've used it and it's been like one of the first off the production line. And I faced an issue, and then go back to the company and they make an iterative change on that, and they change their production process because of that. Maybe that's a way they can go about it, is to utilize us. So I would have been more than happy to have been involved with L-TWOO from the start, and they could have maybe sent me a beta testing product, sent that out to a couple of reviewers. We could have worked through it, and then it would have also brought the audience along this journey to be like, okay, here's where it was at step one, and now we've gone through these iterations, and you can see how things are progressing. Like I think that's could genuinely be a relatively good way to do it, because the way they're doing it now, you cannot as a customer trust the process. But if you had seen it all play out in front of you, and we had maybe been involved in the beta testing of all these products up until release, that would have been a really good narrative. And I think that would have provided a lot more data points for them at essentially no cost to them, because I would take that product for free, and I would use it and test it, and because it's good content at the end of the day, right? And people are going to be interested. So that maybe that's what I would do. I would leverage the YouTube reviewer space to bring a product from prototype to final version, because it would build hype, and it would be very low cost. And it would be, you could do it relatively fast as well, especially if you spammed it out to like 10 or 20 reviewers. You could get a lot of data points very quickly.
Yep, good idea. Good idea. When I was talking with Grant, a few ideas I had was like, first of all, I think they need to be more transparent. Like, so every iteration they make, they need to give it like, a version number and have a change log with, a clear list of like, what did we update in version 20? What did we update in version 21?
But then, the risk with that, surely, though, is that then if you produce, because they're going to want to get these products out. So version 1, you produced 10,000 units. And then 2 months later, you say, okay, version 1.1 has all these additional changes. No one is going to buy version 1. So by masking that, they're still going to sell those units. So surely that's an enormous risk for them to offer that transparency.
Yeah, but I mean, so if they have the same, it's basically just changing it around though, because now they have a customer has a failure and they just send a new rederailleur. Like that's also wasted product. Wasted time, right? So, wasted resources, wasted money. So essentially, they just swap it around so that all of these group sets are the old version that haven't been sold yet. You either sell them off super cheap, or they just go in the landfill somewhere, which is not great, but all of the ones that customers have that break are going to end up in landfill anyway. So
I think transparency is, that would be wicked. It's never going to happen, because they're not going to do it, because all it does is prove categorically that they're making these changes. Right now, they're doing it stealthily in the background, and we have to pick that apart by receiving the product and spending, well, in our case, not spending money. Well, I did, but whatever. As a customer, you're going to spend the money, and then you're going to just realize, oh, what? Like I've received version 1.0 when they're on 1.3, but you wouldn't even know they're on version 1.3 because they're not transparent about it. So I think that's like a noble aspiration, but they're never going to do that. They're never going to do that.
I remember you and I were like comparing the serial numbers of our group sets, trying to work out like, which number is the version number, or which number means the month, and like it's silly stuff like this. But yeah, I mean, we live in hope, and like we say, if not L2, there's not really going to be another choice, because now L2 also has a mountain of patents. Like I don't think Sensor would be able to get around L2's patents either. So literally, it's L2 or it's nothing at this point. So let's hope they can pull their finger out.
Yeah, the patent issue is a really interesting one, and that's maybe not a topic for today, but I'd love to delve into that a bit more. I've tried to delve into the patent documentation and try and see where they would infringe and where they wouldn't, and what parts of the Shimano standard are an open standard and what aren't. But it's an absolute minefield. So yeah, I mean, I saw it with the brake caliper design on the L2 group set, because the reason they had to do that for the flat mount standard is because flat mount, from what I understood, was an open standard, but L2 claim it's not. So God, who knows? But yeah, the patent issue is another big one. So you think that L2 have now maybe pushed? They've now got they've invested in more patents, which is maybe going to limit other companies like Sensor from coming into that space. Is that your point?
Yep. Like I think every little hole or sneaky way to get around Shimano's patents, they found it, and now those sneaky holes are plugged up by their patents. And so, which is, like I say, it would be really scary if Shimano or SRAM purchased them, but also equally scary if they just don't pull their finger out. But I think going forwards, the hardest thing for us YouTubers, again, sob story, is we do know this is going to keep getting better. Well, we don't know, but we're confident it's going to keep getting better, and one day it is going to be a viable option. But everyone is going to be waiting for us to say, is this it? So let's say there are versions, right? And we're on version 20 now, and version 21 comes out, 22 comes out, we get our hands on it. Like, so let's say you get your hands on version 22, you ride it for 5,000 kilometers, it's perfect, it's no problem. Do you dare say, this is it, boys, this is the perfect one, go out and buy it?
One. Oh, yeah, I don't know.
That's gonna be so hard. Like, there's gonna be like it's going to be like you, me, and Grant sending each other messages going like, has yours had any problems yet? No, mine's fine. How about yours? Mine's fine too. Okay, well, should we tell people to buy it now? But like, I think this is a good thing because there are other YouTubers out there. I'm not naming any names. I saw a certain pretty big YouTuber today reviewed an e-bike and saying like he's been riding it for 4 months or something. And there's a shot of the odometer and it's only done 11 kilometers. And he's saying like, oh, this bike changed my life, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's good that, we have this quote unquote conscious, we don't want to throw our consumers under the bus because we know they're spending their hard earned cash. But at the same time, there is this pressure from them. Like they want you to say it's good. Like they want it to be the version. So yeah, there's this conflict, and it's going to be tough to know when to say, okay, guys, this is the one, go out and buy it.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. You're totally right. And it comes back to that transparency issue. Like even if we did say in say 6 months time, I've been riding it for 6 months solid and I've had no issues, you don't know what version you're going to get when you buy it. So this is always the issue and the caveat with these Chinese products, right? Is that it's unavoidable that there is likely to be some issue or something, some unexpected problem or curveball that comes in. I've seen it time and time again, and you don't get that with the big Western brands. So maybe in a few months, a couple of years, we'll get there with these Chinese brands to a point where, as a customer, I can really trust the product. But we're not there yet.
No. Well, we all live in hope.
Yeah.
Sure. Just quickly, what else are you working on? What else is coming out with the Trace Velo review machine?
What else is coming out? So I've got you mentioned the Trifox frame, and I did a quick teaser of a problem I had in the last video I dropped, where I demonstrated the issue I had with the L-TWOO front derailleur. One of the reasons that I took the front derailleur off was because I had a problem with the derailleur hanger on the Trifox frame. Again, so I gave that product what I thought was a really good going over. I looked inside it with an endoscope. I looked at all the rivets. I looked at all the riv nuts. I looked at the carbon layup. I talked to the factory about how they produce them, the way they mold the frames. I put it all together. I had a slight issue with the headset, but got that fixed by sanding down a small part. And the bike went together absolutely fantastic. 200 miles, absolutely no problems. But the front derailleur hanger came loose. That has never ever happened to me on any other bike that I've ever ridden. If I was to try and think of a way that frame could have failed or an issue that I would have had, maybe, I don't know, I would have had a slipping seat post or a small crack in the carbon where I tightened the seat post clamp, something like that I could kind of guess as a problem. But the front derailleur hanger just came loose. So I've got a fix for that, and I'll demonstrate why that happened in that video as well. But yeah, that's coming out. So again, I got stung because I gave a really pretty glowing review to this Trifox frame, and then I've got bitten in the ass because I didn't wait another 100 miles later. So that's coming out. Yeah. Frustrating again.
Again, first world problems for YouTubers and stuff. But again, it's that thing of you can't write it for 6 months and then bring your review out because it'll be irrelevant by the time it comes out, right? And not just because, someone else on YouTube is going to review it before me, just because someone else, in that 6 months, so many people are going to buy it and maybe have the same problem and stuff. So yeah, we're in this awkward situation where you want to review it early so people know how to spend the money wisely. But if you review it too early, you might not get to encounter the problems that are seemingly lurking in the muddy waters.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, another video that I want to get out as well, which I'll try and get out in the next few weeks, is a kind of approach that people should take when buying these products. Because, like I said, I was hoping that the eRX group set was going to be a bit of a turning point for this arena, that there'd be a product that you could buy and trust, but that's still not the case. So there's all this. I mean, I'm guilty of it as well, right? With my stuff, I compare like a 2,500 quid bike that I've built myself to a 12,000 quid bike from Specialized, and there's that whole glitz and glam around it. But then ultimately, if you're gonna want to recreate those builds that I do, you need to have a specific mindset going in, that if something goes wrong, well, you kind of have to almost expect that something is going to go wrong. So I basically I want to provide a video where I kind of talk through the mindset and the ethos and the approach you should have when you're buying these products, because in a lot of areas, especially with these dirt cheap ones, I said this earlier, you don't pay with money, but you pay with your own time. So yeah, that'll be coming out as well, to try and add a bit of realism to this clickbaity stuff that I'm personally guilty of. So yeah, that'll be coming out as well.
Like I say, I think you do a great service for everyone. Like if people are watching and don't know your channel, they should definitely go check it out. I'll put a link down in the description. But yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. You're saving lots of people lots of money, carrying the torch. And again, so I think people, if you go through my YouTube history, they'll also see, like, I used to play like the cheap stuff, the kind of stuff that you play now, and like I've stopped playing that stuff now. And maybe some people think I'm a sellout and stuff, but it's literally because, like you say, it just eats time. Like the amount of time you spend, sitting on the garage floor trying to fix things. I do not envy you, but you're a younger man than me, so you've got some youth. You got some youth in you. We'll see who you end up passing the torch to eventually when you come and join me on the more expensive Chinese stuff. But no, thank you very much for your time. If people are still watching at this point, leave a comment down below, because this is a new video format for me, and we'll see how it goes on. But yeah, a bit of an insight into YouTuber reviewing life and our opinions on the eRX, and I think we're both hoping that they can get it sorted out. But it looks like it's the road forward is not clear, and neither for L-TWOO or for us. Like, do we recommend this? When do we recommend this? Etc. etc. But we'll keep people updated. And thanks for your time, and thanks for sharing your thoughts.
No problemo. Cheers, Joe.
Something baguette emojis in the comments.
Spam some baguette emojis in the chat. That's always a winner. But yeah, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
No, very cool. Thanks for your time.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.